Welcome everyone to Beyond All Reason. This is Jaws Munch here. We're going to be looking at another guide for us here with Beyond All Reason. We are going to be doing hotkeys. Now, before we get into the video, you can go ahead and like if you get value out of it, and also subscribe if you want to see some more upcoming content. And then if you really want to help the channel, the best way you can do that is to share these videos with some other friends who either like RTS or Beyond All Reason content. That would be really helpful for the channel. So we're going to be starting off by just going over every single key for grid key optimization only. We're not going into any other version. We're just going through the grid key optimizations, okay? Not control, default keys, alt keys, nothing like that, okay? So you might not have your setting to grid keys. That should be in controls. You can change it here to grid key optimize, grid key 60% keyboard, custom, all these different ones. I use grid key optimize, so that's all we're going to be looking at today.
Battle started.
So to start off, we're just going to be going over the basics. First up, I think this is one of the most important things that everyone should know, and that is if you press tab, you will automatically select your commander. That is one of the first things you should know in the game. It's very important. You'll run into times where your commander gets hurt, he's in a lot of damage or something and he's about to explode, and you need to be able to maneuver him, and you might be way over here and completely forgot where your commander is. Tab will throw you right back to him. Okay, so that's one of the very important things. Another important thing is I believe it's called the tilde key. It's right below the escape key on your keyboard. It's a little squiggly line there. That, if you hold it down and click and drag, you can draw on the map. So that's really good for like showing your teammates where you're trying to go. Hey, I'm going here, you hold here, and then you push up this way with me. Just planning like that. I actually use that key every time I play Beyond All Reason, it seems. If you click it 2 times, it will pop up a label here, which you can type in, and wherever your mouse was when you clicked it, that is where a ping will appear. This is, say, for instance, you have like incoming planes. You can click this and say planes coming, okay? And then your team knows, oh no, I need to prepare for bombs, okay? And they can start building anti-air, or maybe your air player will come over and defend against that. So those are 2 very basic things that you really need to know. Another interesting key binding that I was not aware of is Q. If you press Q, it will select every unit of that type. So if I want to select all my pawns, all my centurions, all I have to do is press Q. So that can be very handy if you're trying to separate units. It's a very fast way to do that. Another way to do that would be to double click. Double clicking selects all the same type. So that's another way you can do it. I believe double clicking only selects those in your screen though. As you can see, if I zoom in really close, I will only select 2 centurions versus all of them. I think, oh, it works the same with Q as well. So good to know. Based on where your screen is what units will be selected. Another thing that's very important, and this will be with our, where is he? Our Resbot, and that is W. W is to resurrect anything that has fallen. Okay, so if one of our guys gets destroyed and you want to resurrect him, or say one of your factories gets blown up, then you can bring your reclaimer over here, your Lazarus bot or grave robber bot, and you can revive anything that still has its structure. So there will be a time where if it takes too much damage after being destroyed, that the form of the unit disappears and it becomes just scrap metal. You cannot revive scrap metal. But if it still retains the shape of the unit or the shape of the building, you can revive it with W with a Lazarus bot or Grave Robber bot. Okay, so that's something important to know. Another very, very important function, and that would be reclaim. E is going to be one of the most important key bindings you ever use in this game. Okay, E lets you reclaim resources off the battlefield. So if one of your guys gets blown up and you don't have time to resurrect him, because maybe your bot is off collecting trees or something, you can actually bring your commander over, or any construction unit with build power, and you can reclaim them. As you can see, I'm sucking the life out of him, and he disappears. And all of that metal goes back into my coffers. So if even you find something becomes obsolete, you can just reclaim that thing that you don't need anymore and fold that metal back into your resources, or whatever you may have. Trees, you can reclaim those for energy, and that can be very useful. If you're running low on energy or it's a low energy map, then trees can be very handy for that. The next thing would be repair. That is if you press R. R for repair, and you can click and drag and it will repair everything within that area, or you can click on a single unit and it will repair that unit. So we'll give an example here. Suck away his health so that he is low, and I can just repair him singly, or I can suck away you and suck away you, and now I can repair both of them one at a time. Boom, boom. Okay, so that's kind of how that works with R. Another useful hotkey to know would be T. Now you'll see it down here. There's a button called repeat. If you press T, it will turn to on. What this does is it sets a repeating thing that the commander will do. So if you set out a queue of moves, the commander will just walk in that same pathway over and over again. Oh no, my guy is dying from the enemy commander. Poor little man. Anyway, he's just gonna walk in a circle because I have set him to repeat. This can be very important to turn off. If for some reason you leave it on and you didn't mean to, you can end up having your commander walk in an endless line for no reason. Whereas if you turn it off, he now shows as idle, versus if he is doing something, he does not come up as idle. So be careful not to accidentally press T and turn your units to repeat. Another thing that I find most useful, this hotkey, is Y, and that is most useful for like rocket bots, artillery pieces, just doing a more targeted attack versus a like trying to target enemies that are running towards you. For instance, if a pawn is running towards your army and an artillery piece, we'll say, is over here and targets him, boom, now that artillery just damaged like all of your guys because he was too close. He was targeting something too close. So that can be one helpful thing. Or if for some reason you are not wanting to build units for a minute, you can press Y and pause your production. Pause any units that you want to and put them on pause so that none of them will do anything until you come back to them and move them, or tell it to unpause for this. You'll have to press Y again for the factory to make it actually do stuff. Whereas these guys, if you move them, they will unpause. Okay, so that's another thing. Another one, this is going to only work for transports, which I did not build any, and I don't necessarily think I need to, but Airplanes are available that can transport units called transports, and if you want to pick up a unit, let me see, what's pick up again? Oh, yes. To pick up a unit, say you want to pick up your Centurion and put him on the top of this hill with a plane, then you can select your transport, wherever that may be, fly it to the unit, and press J, and then click on the unit after pressing J, and then press U and click on the wherever you want to land him, and it will automatically land him out there. So this would be best to do in like a chain of commands. So you'll grab your transport, hold down shift, press J to load the unit, and then press, while holding shift still, press U to unload the unit, and while holding shift still, bring your transport back. Okay, that will cue all of those movements in a row, so your transport's not sitting up on the hill, maybe taking fire or something. Okay, so that's just kind of how you would use the transport and the hotkeys for that. Another thing that I didn't realize is I. This brings up all of the info for that unit that is selected. So if you want to know about your commander, you can select him and press I. It shows all the details, the cost, the build, power, the movement speed. Even you can see that he is EMP resistant, so he's not going to be able to be frozen from EMP shots very well. And he just has a ton of abilities and stuff. So if for some reason you forget a unit's info, it seems to pop up the weakest unit in the bunch, judging from what I see. Yep, the weakest unit appears to be the one that it pops up the info for. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, you have to select them directly. Okay, and that is the hotkey of I. Another hotkey you can use is O. O, so what you'll do is press O and shift, and you can, so you press O, hold shift, and now this Centurion is guarding this Centurion. So everywhere this Centurion goes, that Centurion will follow and just protect him. Okay, I don't find that very useful necessarily, because as you can see, the distance is quite far. And so the only time I would really use that is like, say with my resbot, I want to have these guys coming to guard my resbot. You don't even have to press the hotkey. You can just right click on him and it will automatically guard. But you can also press the hotkey and then left click as well. So both of those work. But say you have a resbot and you want him to go out and do stuff. Well, these guys are now following the resbot, but not very closely, because they always stay behind. They're quite a distance away from the resbot. So if the enemy was here and attacking, these guys aren't even going to do anything. They're just going to watch as your resbot gets shots popped at him, you know, and your resbot's going to be decimated. So I don't really use that function very often unless I want to just have the units in the area of something I'm trying to protect. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Maybe not the most effective. Okay, here is another hotkey that I had no idea existed and is actually quite cool and might have some usability, but not tremendous usability. Okay, and that is the move, wait, and gather. Okay, so what you'll do, well, we'll give an example here. So to like spread a line out and evenly distribute you guys, you're gonna right click and hold and drag where you want your guys distributed. You could drag them all across the map and it will try to evenly distribute the guys wherever you may want them. Okay, obviously not very effective to do that. That's not really how you would want to, but that is an option. Okay, so right click, so select your units, right click and drag is a way to spread them out. Pretty basic, but here is another thing that I did not realize. You can right click and drag and then have them go and press P. Now what this will do is it makes it so they will not shoot until the other units that are slower get there. and after all units are in place, then they will shoot. I'll give you an example, okay? So we're gonna have these guys come here, click and drag, hold shift, press A, and press wait. Okay, I think, nope, I didn't do that right. Okay, sorry, 1 second. We're gonna do this. Okay, so we're gonna click and drag, press P, and then do an attack here, okay? So we're gonna bring all of our guys up to this line first. Then after everyone is in place, then it will start an attack. Now, I don't know that that would be very effective, except maybe for like stealth units, and you want all your stealth units to get to a certain place before revealing themselves, or maybe you have artillery pieces that you want to attack out in the distance here, and you want to make sure that everyone is grouped up to defend if someone needs to. But you can use the movement and P to not let anyone attack until everyone gets into the area first. So just something interesting I didn't know existed, but now you know. Another thing, another hotkey you can do is the attack hotkey, where if you say you know that an object is out here, you know that they have a defensive turret here because you can see it shooting at you or whatever. You can tell them to attack a location specifically, regardless of if they see it or not. Okay, so what that can be useful for is like if you have a, oops, not construction bot, we'll say a rocket bot. So we'll get this guy out. Say you have a rocket bot, you know that there's got to be some type of turret here, but the rocket bot can't see it because it's outside of the radar. Okay. And turrets usually have a range of about that large. Now, a rocket bot is capable of shooting at the turret, but the turret will not be able to shoot at it. So what you can do is you can do an attack fire at that location where you know it is, even though you cannot see it. The line of sight is right here. The rocket bot is incapable of seeing the target here, but it can still hit it. It just has to be specifically told to hit that location. Anyway, A is how you would do that. Select the unit you want to and press A, and it will shoot in that location. Okay. Another thing, which is very interesting, is S. This is to target the ground. I don't know if you can. Yeah, you can do it with anything. You can tell all of these guys to target the ground and just shoot at the ground, which is quite interesting. I don't know why anyone would want to do that, but that is S. S is how you target the ground and murder it. So if you hate the ground, you can do it. They still want to. I guess it doesn't go away. There we go. Press stop. Now they won't attack the ground. Anyway, you know how to if you need to. Okay, certain units have a special ability called the D-gun. Each one might be a little bit different. The commander is called the D-gun, where it shoots a massive line of heated plasma that destroys everything in its path. It can literally kill any unit in the game instantly, except for another commander. So the commander, that's his special ability, is the D-gun, and it shoots a line of ultimate destruction to any unit in his path. But there are other units that also have similar things, such as a nuclear facility, nuclear missile facility. So if you had a nuclear missile facility, which I don't have built, you could select it and press D and launch the missile wherever you want to click, okay, wherever you choose to launch it. And then there's also missiles on Thors that are a EMP missile. So that will cause a big area to be stunned and EMP'd where they won't even be able to move. So that can be very effective. Don't forget to use your D-gun or all the other alternative guns that act similarly. Just check and see if your unit has some kind of special ability it can fire. Okay, another command is F. F is a fight command where they will move within range of an enemy and stop and shoot that enemy. Okay, so if for some reason an enemy was, say, right here, the pawn, say the enemy was right here and you wanted to move to here, the pawn would stop here, shoot this guy, kill it, and then move to here. So a fight command can be good if you don't want to go past a certain position and get hit on multiple sides with this, like, just by moving too far or something. Another important thing that can be nice to know is the clear queue, which is G. I did not know this existed, but if you queue up a bunch of things and you don't end up wanting any of them anymore, then you can press G, boom, your queue is empty on your building and you can select what you want to build instead. That can be good for rapidly changing your supplies, so, or your unit composition, which previously what I would do is deselect them rather than just rapidly deselecting them with one button and one click. So G is an excellent way to do that. Keep that in mind. Another type of key binding here is patrol. This is actually something I've used multiple times. It's especially helpful with aircraft, and that is H. H lets you select a location for your units to just travel back and forth, and they will attack anything that gets in their range and try to kill it before continuing on their patrol. So if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, patrolling could be an excellent option for you there. Toggling cloak is next. I'm going to stop these guys because that's annoying. Toggling cloak is important. Cloaking is very important for the late game with the commander. That is how you kill enemy units rapidly that are coming in and trying to destroy your base, especially T3. You'll want to cloak and D-gun the T3 units. And being cloaked makes it so that they can't really see you unless they have a radar signature. This green circle is a radar, and you can see the commander still in a radar signature, but cloaked units only give off radar signatures. Anyway, the hotkey for that is K if you want to toggle the cloak ability on your commander. Another ability is, or another key binding is L, which I don't know why it's not selecting it. That's weird. I wonder if that's a glitch. It should. You can see it does it sometimes, where it will set the fire state, but it looks like it's irregular. So I don't know why that would be. But it's not working properly. So I'm gonna cancel that. I don't know what's the deal with that, but it should toggle the fire state of your troops to make them hold fire, return fire, or fire at will. Anyway, doesn't seem to be working very well, so we're gonna move past that. Toggling move state is with the colon, so you can have your units roam, which means that they will like go and try to seek enemies. Man, it's still doing that. I don't know, maybe it's my keyboard's garbage or something. Anyway, so roaming will make them go and seek enemies. So if they see an enemy on the map, like anywhere, they'll walk up to it and try to kill it. Maneuver means they will kind of walk towards it and like maneuver around and try to attack it on its own, and you don't have like full control of it. And then hold position means they stand still and wait for your personal commands before moving at all. So I honestly want to test maneuver a little bit more and see if that can help cause my units to be a little bit more effective in battle, so I don't have to micro them quite as much. But I would not do roam unless you're up against 1v1 maybe. That might be worth it, because otherwise you lose complete control of your units. So I would not use that very often. Line of sight mode. That is the quotation mark next to enter. This just changes how your map looks, makes it appear brighter. So you can see it has dark circles where you don't have good line of sight, whereas when you press the line of sight mode, it shows no dark circles. I actually appreciate the dark view. It helps me remember where my line of sight is better, but something you can mess around with and, you know, develop your own personal preference for. So that is a quotation mark. Enter is obviously chat. Everyone knows that. Gotta love chat. Okay. And then shift would be to queue anything. You want to queue movements, you can do that. You want to queue a bunch of bots or whatever, you can do that. You want to queue an attack, you press shift, click, move, and then it will just shoot the ground there because that's all it knows to do. But you can also tell it to kill something, so you could go move up here, kill this, move over here, and attack this, and you can queue up a whole set of commands for it to do, and it will follow those out. Okay. Let's see. Building. So building is pretty simple. Down here you have to have something that is building selected first. So the commander's capable of building, bots are capable of building. There's a few units that can do it. Construction bots are. Anyway, not every unit can, but several can. Like the construction bot, construction vehicles, etc. So building menus are rather simple because it's listed right here. It's meant for you to be to have your 4 fingers placed on your keyboard starting with F, D, S, and A. So your pointer finger on F, then D, S, A from there, okay, with your pinky on A. So what this will do is make it very easy to pop up a build menu. Okay, so all I have to do is press V and I have all of my factories. Escape is to exit out. C, all of my utility, such as a camera, radar, fortifications, those can be nice. X, command, combat, like your basic laser turret or your Nettle anti-air gun. Okay, very simple. And then Z is the economy. This will be one of the things you use the most, because the economy is one of the most important things in the game. Z, so you can press ZZ and it will be your metal extractor. ZX, you'll get your solar panels. ZC, you'll get windmills. ZA, you'll get the energy converters, very useful. ZW, that's going to be your metal storage unit, and so on and so forth. You can easily visualize it over on the menu here as well, which can be very handy. But you'll get the hang of it. The build menu is very intuitive after you get used to it. Then you have toggle on and off trajectory, which I don't know actually what that is. I didn't really test with that, what that was. Skip to next in queue, I believe that is N. No, that's probably having to do with building stuff. So if I build, we'll say build this and this. If I press N, it skips to the next one in queue. Okay, so that can be helpful if for some reason you change your mind on where you want to build it. You could have like a bunch of things queued up and you're like, okay, actually I don't really want to do the parameter camera, so I'm just going to press N and the camera acts as if it never existed. I don't really feel like building that turret. N to the next one. And another one you can do is M, which is restore the ground. Now we were beating up this block of stone over here earlier, so we'll see if we can't fix the ground over here. Oh, looks like that was pretty easy to do. So, I have never used restoring the ground, but maybe there's some point where you feel it might be necessary. So definitely do that if you feel the need. Next, oh, another very important thing, backspace. That is how you mute your whole game. So if you have speakers at home and you don't want your mom to know you're playing Beyond All Reason, press backspace and do it at your own risk. Anyway, and then you can also increase and decrease volume with the plus and minus buttons. Okay, so that's very handy. You can screenshot with F12 and it'll save a screenshot. You can rotate the map to elevation, so now you can see elevations if for some reason you didn't recognize it. F8 is how you view the elevations. And then there is F10, which pops up a menu for you. So this is just your basic menu. You can also press it here in settings.
Battle started.
Same menu. Widgets is F11. I don't have any widgets. I don't really mess around with the widgets. I haven't really researched into those, but if you have widgets, F11 is how you do it. F7 is the metal view, so it just highlights all the metal on the map a little bit brighter so you can see it easier, and also shows the pockets of metal that's available to you. And that is F7. Then F6 is unit pathing. I think the green shows everywhere that specific type of unit can go, and the purple shows where you cannot walk because it is blocked or it is too difficult of terrain. And I think the darker the terrain, the harder it is to walk through it. Okay, that is F6. And then we have another one which I think is actually pretty good, because during big battles it can get confusing and you might not realize what's going on, and that is F5. So if someone's pinging, like they say help, help, because they're like in a big rush, they say help because they just need help and they couldn't type it right. You can press F5 and instantly snap to the last pings. So that can be pretty helpful, and I actually will try to be implementing that into my games. Anyway, I don't think any of the other buttons are available here, so we're going to move on to the Alt, or the Control key. Now, Control is going to be very, very helpful. Let's see. So with a commander, if you press Z, you're going to pull up a mechs here. Now, I think, yeah. So you can double press. Okay, I didn't realize it was double pressing it. So this isn't actually control anything. This is just double pressing it. So you go up to your commander and you can double press the metal extractors, and you can click and drag, and the commander will go and build all the metal extractors it can in that area. So if you want to build like metal extractors here, and metal extractors here, and here, and here, you can kind of queue them up in a way that you like. And that's just by double clicking Z. Another thing you can do is when you're attacking, you can press A and click and drag, and it will attack everything in a certain area, any enemy units. Another thing, if you feel like something is targeting something you don't want it to target, say a missile is landing on your troops, you can select your missile launcher and press, let me see, I'm gonna do an example here. Press control, it should be control no, that's not working. Okay. Cancel target. I'm not sure what that actually does. We'll ignore that because I didn't understand it. Okay, you can look into that further. It's something to do with S. I don't know exactly what it is. Anyway, Control Tab will select a empty builder who's not working. Okay, so any units that are building but are not doing anything, any builder units of any type, it will toggle between them all. So that's Control Tab, very useful. Another thing that's very handy that I did not realize is Control W. That selects half of the units that were selected. So if you want to use half of the units you have available, you can press Control Q. Sorry, I think I said W. Control Q. That will select half of the units. Okay, another thing you can do is press Control W. Control W will select all of the similar units, even if you didn't. So if you, I think we already talked about this. Yeah, Q and Control W are the same. I don't know why they did that. It's like just press Q. Anyway, oh, it might be all similar units, so it's probably regardless of what you're looking at. So Control W will select all of them regardless of what you're viewing, whereas Q selects them based on your screen. Control W selects them based on everything. Okay, so that's the difference there. And then E, Control E, I think is actually quite interesting. This is if you are in an emergency and you need to evacuate and you're like, okay, I'm losing everything, the battle is over, I need to retreat from my base and go protect my ally because I feel like a nuclear missile is going to land in my base. You can press Control E, select every unit you have, builders, res bots, commander, everything, and retreat them to wherever you want. Okay, so not something you'll probably use very often, but it's good to know that it's there, you know, it's available. Another important thing I wanted to note is when you are clicking and dragging, it will not select any build units. It will only select units that have no build power. So clicking and dragging is only going to select battle units unless you click and drag over only build units. If there is one attack unit in there, it will cancel out the other build units because of that attack unit. Okay, so it always targets the attack units first. Control T does a map overview. If you are into that kind of thing, I think you'd have to be pretty wacky to be into it. Control Y is selecting only units that are waiting. So if you tell them to wait and then you want to take these guys out here, Control Y, you will select the waiting units once again. So this could be helpful. Yeah, I think, no, it will, yeah, it's just helpful to separate your army and kind of make sure you don't, I don't know, like, it might be useful for like a secondary grouping style of thing, where all of your groups, you're microing with these guys a bunch, and then you also want to quickly select these guys because they're coming for your base. You can do that, and then if they fall back, then you can put them on wait again, and then come back to these guys, and then press Control Y and select these guys again. So I don't know, it seems a little bit impractical to me, but it's available if you want it. That is Control Y to select all waiting units. Control I gives you the details of the map. Lots of technical stuff here. I'm not really going to try to explain any of this because I don't understand it, but that is Control I. Also, control groups. This is very important. Control groups can be done with Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, Control 4. It's very basic to all RTS games, but maybe you are new to RTS and you've only seen Beyond All Reason. That can be helpful to just know that pressing Control and a number will let you select all of them based on that number. So it's there, it goes all the way up to 0. You can make a control group. Another thing you can do is make a control group based on every single game. Now this is something specific to Beyond All Reason. If you press Alt 1, every single game, that unit will be number 1. So all you have to do is press 1 if you want that unit. Usually what I'll do is I'll break up my artillery or further distance guys into group number 3, my scouts or like raider units I'll put into group number 2, and my like heavier frontline I'll put into group number my raiders will be in group number 1, my heavier frontline will be in group number 2, and my artillery longer range will be in group number 3. That just helps me have quick access to all of them at the click of a button. Another thing that you might like to use is Control B. That is the self-destruct function. Now, if you are being raided by enemies and say you don't have anything to defend you, so your commander's gone, everything's gone, and there's some people trying to kill your mechs, pressing Control B causes damage. Okay, this is especially useful with let's say a tick or a rover, or like even one pawn. You can do quite a bit of damage. So if you press Control B, it will do much more damage versus just waiting for your tick to kill, or waiting for it to die on its own. So a metal extractor, when it dies naturally, it does a minor amount of damage. But when you press Control B and blow it up like that, it will do a significant amount of damage. So that's an early game tip you can use in your games if you want, but it's kind of hard to micro. It can also be useful because pressing Control B makes it so that it will not leave any metal on the ground. When it blows up, all the metal is destroyed, and if you want to send in like a suicide, say you have a bunch of units and you know you're gonna lose, you can just press Control B, push forward, do as much damage as possible, and leave them no metal after they explode. Okay, so planning on losing, might as well lose without wasting metal and giving it to the enemy. Something that you can use in your games. Control Enter. That is how you talk to everyone. Alt Enter is how you talk to allies. Shift Enter is how you talk to spectators. Okay, that's all in the chat. So that's important to note as well. And I think we're gonna end it there. That's basically all the nuance that I wish to give you guys. Like I said, if you enjoyed the video, definitely share it. I know it was long, I know I went over every single detail, but now you have a full video going over the grid optimized layout for Beyond All Reason. Thank you guys for watching.